けてく夜明けにこれが最後の願いね Let's go! レオンの絡む肌踊る影揺れるステップ流されるままにはにかむ横顔に遠くで響く鼓動探すほど見失い溶けてく夜明けにこれが最後の願いね嘘でもいいからみんなないものねだりね Let's go! 寂しげな言葉をつぶやく唇を音色と混ぜ合わせて消えてく人の波預ける指先に儚く揺れる光溶けてく夜明けにこれが最後の願いね嘘でもいいからみんなないものねだりね失われた声街に飲まれて霞んでいく笑顔遠くになる瞳曖昧な距離さえ甘くてほんの少しでもこの夜に酔わせて溶けてく夜明けにこれが最後の願いね嘘でもいいからみんなないものねだりね溶けてく夜明けにこれが最後の願いね嘘でもいいからみんなないものねだりね
is up, guys? Welcome to my first stream. Thanks for making it out. I know it's an awkward time for a lot of you. I'm sure it's 9 p.m. here in Japan, which means it's middle of the day for Europe, and the Americas just got absolutely skunked. It's like 7 a.m. at best, but we're working on it. I'll try to do some alternate times, and you guys let me know what times work best. All right, so let's get started. So this is going to be a 2-hour stream. Ask me anything Japanese for the first 90 minutes. Any questions you have about Japanese, study tips, vocab, confusing grammar, ask them here. I'll answer them. And then for the last 30 minutes, it'll be Life in Japan Q&A. So any questions you have about life in Japan, you hit me up, all right? So yeah, before we just jump into it, I'll just do a quick self-introduction since it is my first stream. All right, so my name's Tokuyuu. You can also call me Toku. I was born and raised in Canada, and I started learning Japanese about 12 years ago. All right, mostly self-studying. And I got my N1, the highest proficiency, while I was still in Canada. And then after graduating university, I moved to Japan, got a job here, and I've been living here for 4 years since. So basically, my Japanese is pretty dope. But admittedly, it's not perfect. I'm going to do my best to answer your questions. But if you want perfect pronunciation, perfect intonation, or what sounds the most natural, admittedly, asking a native speaker will be your best bet because they just have a better feel for the language. I think my strength, I'll answer those questions as best I can, but I think my strength is more in, probably just like you guys, I'm learning this language from zero as a non-native speaker. So I think I'm better positioned to explain things in a way that make more sense for us, right? So again, I won't be able to answer everything, but I'll do my best, and hopefully it looks like there's some Japanese people in the chat as well, so hopefully they can help us out and we can learn together. Sound good? So how I'm going to do this is I'm going to start a Q&A. So Q&A in the YouTube live chat. So your Japanese questions here. Start that Q&A right now. Okay, so it should have popped up. So I have a Q&A in the live chat titled Your Japanese Questions here. So any questions you have, please put them in the Q&A. While we're talking about one of the questions, I'm explaining something. If you have a question related to what we're talking about, feel free to just drop it in the chat normally, and we'll just try to build the conversation from there. We'll build the discussion. Any questions you have that are like slightly off topic, like something different, like a different piece of grammar, something else, put it in the Q&A just so it doesn't get lost in the chat. Okay, so we'll try to keep it organized that way. Onegaishimasu, Benji Westo-san, my beautiful mod. I appreciate you coming out. And let me know if like the audio is okay and like the camera, whatever. Like this is my first stream, so still figuring things out. All right, so I'll give you guys a few more seconds to put in your questions. Started learning 9 years ago in grade 1. Dang, you got in early, dude. Good for you. That's amazing. 8 p.m. in the Philippines. Yeah, that's honestly, you got the better end of things. Way better than say California, which is like 4 a.m. No question, just happy to see you streaming. Thank you so much, Miki. That's really kind of you. It's 6 a.m. in Canada. I know. That's like Central Time, right? Bro, if you're coming out here at 6 a.m., you are a homie. All right, let's see if I can open this Q&A here. Okay, apartment stuff. We're going to save that for Life in Japan. How to start preparing for N1. All right, so how to start preparing for N1. I mean, realistically, if you're at the point of N1, you're already really good at studying Japanese. Like whatever you've done to get to N2, you just need to keep doing that for N1. So work on the N1 grammar, the N1 kanji. I mean, I have all my videos about how I personally studied. So the kanji, I learned my N1 kanji through the Kanji Study app. I also bought the Shinkansen book series for reading practice. They have a lot of JLPT style questions that you can use to test yourself for reading comprehension, and especially good for timing yourself. Like the hardest part of the exam is finishing the questions on time. So make sure not only can you read it, but you can read it fast enough. But for the most part, like if you've gone to N2 level already, like you're doing a great job. Just keep it up. Okay. do you think it's kind of cringe to say you're fluent? I feel like most people I met that claimed they were fluent were like N3 at most. Yeah, it's kind of tricky. I mean, I've felt this way as well. Like, at what point do you say you're fluent? Because I'm still not perfect at Japanese. Like, is it okay if I say I'm fluent? You know? I'd say, yeah, N3, kind of borderline. I would say conversational at that point, probably, depending on how good you are. I think fluency is more like your level of comfort. Like, can you listen to the everyday Japanese conversation and mostly understand? And if you have something you want to say, can you say it without too much problem? That I would say is fluency. It doesn't need to be perfect. That would be native level or like high fluency proficiency. So I don't think it's cringe. But I also like, there's no need to just claim you're fluent right away. Like, I mean, everyone wants to say they got fluent in 6 months or like 3 weeks, you know, whatever crazy thing people say. But I mean, at the end of the day, whatever you claim doesn't actually change how good you are at Japanese. So just focus on keep getting better. And you'll know when you feel more or less comfortable speaking the language, because that's the ultimate goal. Audio and visual looking good. Yes. Thank you, Benji West. Glad to hear it. Room is cool. Appreciate that. 日本に住んでますか？日本に住んでますよ。4年前から日本に住んでます。Alright, let's go back to Q&A. Have you ever used the phrase あなたの Okay, how long did it take you to pass each JLPT level? So admittedly, I have only passed JLPT N1. Because you like taking the other levels. So N2 and N1 are the ones that will get you jobs in Japan. Like companies will typically ask if you have N2 or N1. The other ones are kind of just nice to have. And they're more than anything, they're just good to pace yourself, to know that, okay, I'm around this level and I'm capable of it. And this test proves I am. So for me, I didn't really feel the need to do N5, N4, N3 because like I knew there was no practical value. But if you find it helps pace you, then go for it. If it helps like give you that motivation to keep studying for this concrete goal, then do it. But I didn't. I skipped all the way to N2. I took my N2 after about maybe 4 years of studying. Failed it. Failed it. I was like, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm pretty confident. Did no practice questions. Got to the real exam. It takes a long time to read Japanese. Like I knew the characters, but it just took so long to read that like I ran out of time and just like guessed the last third of the questions. So do practice exams. Took the N2 after 4 years, failed it. And I was like, you know what? I studied a lot after that. And I knew I could probably pass N2 again. Like I was pretty confident. I was like, let's just go for N1. And so I jumped straight to N1 after failing N2. I was kind of gutsy like that. And then I passed. So I passed the N1 after 5.5 years to be exact. But everyone's timeline is going to be different. Like it's not a race. The key thing is that you keep going. But it's going to take time no matter what. Have you ever used the phrase あなたの助けに鬼切る I'm not sure what that last part is. 鬼切る So 鬼切る 鬼切るかな No, I haven't. No 助け In general, you don't really say あなた like to refer to you. So in general, you wouldn't say that. And 助けに鬼切る I mean, that sounds kind of like anime-esque. Like I'm in your debt, essentially. Can you tell me how to study grammar? I can't afford Genki. I'm a school student of South Asia. I have a video on that. Check out my video on how to learn Japanese grammar specifically. I have some tips there. Takem's guide is a really good one. So I'd recommend that. How should we go about speaking in Japanese? Again, I have a video on that, specifically how to speak Japanese more fluently. So be sure to check that one out. I know hiragana and katakana by heart, but I don't really know what they mean if you put some together or by itself. Unlike kanji, I know what it means. How do I get the meaning of them? I think that's just going to come down to you getting better vocabulary, right? For sure, like because there are no spaces in Japanese, like if you just see a bunch of hiragana together, it's hard to tell where one word starts and one word ends. Like you're just going to have to learn what that word is. Like if it's just like kono kaban and they're both written in hiragana. You don't know it starts and ends with kono and then kabang. It's just going to look like kono ka and then bang. So it's just going to come down to learning vocab. Of course, kanji, it's more clear, like that's where the kanji starts. But just learn vocab. That's what I would say. All right, Benji West. One thing I'm struggling with right now is how to tell when a verb is ichidan or a go-down verb. Yes, so that's a good question. Let's draw it out for the rest of the class here, shall we? Let me get this out. Okay, so ichidan and go-down verbs. So in Japanese, we have here, let me, because my handwriting is going to look a little crusty with the mouse. It looks crusty in general, but we're going to blame it on the mouse. So we got u verbs. New verbs. And we have the exception verbs. All right, and these are just going to be your, okay, it's kind of huge. Just make that a bit smaller. And this is just going to be suru and kuru. Right? All right, so there's 3 types of verbs in Japanese. You have your u verbs, you have your ru verbs, and you have your exception verbs, which are just suru and kuru. So another way you can call these is ichidan, which I've honestly never called them ichidan and godan, but they are ways to say it. I think this one's ichidan. And I think this one's godan. If this is wrong, this is really embarrassing. So godan, ichidan. So for example, the ru verbs are the ones like taberu, and to eat, and abiru, to shower. So they're typically the verbs that end in this iru, or eru, just like taberu or abiru. And the u verbs or godan verbs are verbs that end in anything else, basically, like asobu. Here, I'll try to put the reading as well. Asobu and kaku. Right? But as my boy Benji is saying, sometimes you have verbs that end in iru and eru, but are actually u verbs or godan verbs. So you have your kairu, like to go home, and your kiru, to cut, etc. So these end in iru eru, but they're actually u verbs. So normally, say if you were to conjugate these here, sorry, I'll make these a bit bigger. I think I'm making them a little bit small here. Sobu, ju, and ju. Okay. So kairu and kiru look like they should be ru verbs, but they're actually u verbs. So if you conjugate this negative, so normally you just drop the ru and add masen or nai. So the negative form of taberu is tabenai. You just drop the ru and add nai. So you would think for kairu it'd be kaenai, but it's actually kairanai. Right? Kairanai. So you don't drop the last one. So that's why it can be a bit confusing, because it'll sound wrong if you conjugate the wrong way. And unfortunately, Benji and the rest of you who want to know, there's no way to tell. There's no hack to tell. There's just a list of verbs that are exceptions. I think I wrote them down somewhere, actually. If I go Japanese. Yeah. I have like a bunch of them written down here just for your reference. These are probably the most common ones that you have to know, right? Hairu to enter, kairu to go home, hashiru to run, shiru to know, etc., etc. There's basically like this list of maybe, I'll say 10 or 15 or so that exist, and you just got to know them. And I mean, I wish I could tell you something else, but that's what it is. But once you know these ones, it's not that bad. You'll just know what sounds more natural. So just keep that in mind. And also, just fun fact, why it's called godan and ichidan. it's referring to this part here. So ichidan means one step. So taberu, first taberu, this be always stays as be. If you think about like the hiragana chart, like ba, be, what's the order again? Ba, bi, bu, be, bo, ba, bi, bu, be, bo. It always stays be. It's one level, ichidan. No matter how you conjugate it, tabenai, taberu. Whereas the u verbs, goldan, maybe you know the number, 5, goldan, 5 steps. It's because this bu part, asobu, changes to all 5 of those letters. Asobanai, asobenai, the potential form. Asobenai, asoberu, asobu. It goes through all 5 of them. So that's why they're called goldan verbs. Fun fact. But yeah, I wish I could give you a nicer answer, but at the end of the day, that's just what it is. Let me just switch back. Oh, my board is slightly covered by my face. Yeah, I apologize. There, now you can see everything. Appreciate the shout out. All right. Good. Any questions about that? Dude is behind you. Yeah, I apologize for my face cam being in the way, but hopefully it is not anymore. It doesn't look like it is, and I'll keep that in mind going forward. All right. When studying vocab for N5 and taking down the words in my copy, should I be taking down the kanji with them that I haven't learned yet? Or should I just take down the hiragana and katakana? That's a good question. I get that question a lot. So basically, if you're learning vocab, say for N5 or even N4, N3, and it comes attached with a kanji that you haven't learned yet, say like there's the, I don't know what a good example would be. Maybe asobu. Just while we're on the topic, asobu, to play. The word itself, asobu, to play, is very common, so it's probably going to be an N5 vocab. But this kanji here is a little bit more complicated. It's probably around like an N3 kanji. So I'm assuming, Aaron, you're asking, should I learn that kanji while I learn the vocab? And I would say no, don't worry about it. Only learn it if it's at your level. So if you're at N5 and you're just learning the word asobu, don't worry about the kanji. I would just learn it as the hiragana, and eventually you'll learn the kanji once you get up to N3 level. You don't need to slow yourself down with the more complicated stuff right now. Good question. I get that one a lot. If I go to language school, is it better to go to a traditional school or a conversation school? I can't say because I've never been to a language school. I'm mostly self-taught. It really depends what works best for you. Yes, like a conversation school, like ultimately you want to speak more, but it's also, in my opinion, it's good to learn the grammar and learn the rules. So a traditional school would be better for that. Whichever you do, you're going to have to do more studying on your own time anyways. Like if you go to a traditional school that's, say, more book heavy, you want to go out and practice your Japanese in practical settings and like use it in conversation. And if you go to conversation school, maybe you want to like go home and study more yourself, just so you can get the rules more clearly in your head. At the end of the day, you're going to have to do some more studying on your own if you really want to improve. But other than that, yeah, it just depends what suits you best. I started learning my Japanese using Duolingo. Once I master it using the app, then I will consider in-person class to improve my level. What do you think about this plan? Well, if you saw my video, I would say 3 videos ago, titled Why Duolingo Won't Get You Fluent in Japanese, then you'd probably know my opinion on it. Yeah, so give that video a watch and maybe consider switching off of Duolingo a little bit sooner, is what I would say. Can you tell me how to study grammar? I can't afford Genki. Yeah, so again, check out my grammar video. I hear that one should start reading Japanese early on. People seem to regret not having started earlier, but even at the N5-ish level, we'll rather move to dry studying grammar and words. Okay, so should you practice reading even if you're just at an N5 level? A little bit, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, like when you're at N5 level, really beginner, you're just gonna have to learn more vocab and more grammar. Like it's hard to read something when you just don't even know anything about the language. So, you know, it's good practice a little bit, but at the end of the day, I would focus more on, yeah, the dry studying, I think, as you put it, just like learn some more vocab, learn some more grammar rules, and just like slowly build up your bank of knowledge, and then start slowly applying it to more practical uses like simple reading, simple speaking, simple listening. But in the beginning, it is a bit of a grind. You just have to kind of build up your bank of knowledge. Any tips on how to remember to practice? I keep forgetting to practice my kanji and words. It just comes down to habit. Pick a time that works for you. I mean, for me, when I was studying kanji, and maybe when I was studying the N2, N1 kanji, I would just do it on my lunch break. Like I was doing my master's at the time, I was doing research throughout the day, and then on my lunch break, I would just do like 30 minutes of kanji. So if you have trouble remembering it, just do it at the same time every day. I think that's the best you can do. The only one here. I want to learn. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Kaushik in Japan. Learn a lot from me in my videos. I really appreciate that. And you started learning Japanese a year ago. Rooting you on. Good job keeping it up for 1 year. It's not easy to keep it up for that long. So keep up the good work. And I'm sure you'll learn Mandarin as well. Starting to understand better, but I can't speak. I always forget the vocabulary and grammar I learn. How to make everything we learn stick to our mind and use it when needed. Yeah, good question. I mean, when you learn something, like it's like it's not going to be in your mind like right away, right? Like you just read a vocab or learn a new grammar once, like you're not going to get it right away. You're going to have to study it a few times. And even better, if you're at the level where you're just doing even just some basic speaking, basic listening, basic reading, especially when you're speaking, if you learned a new vocab, try to use it. Like my friend was really good at this. He would have a Japanese friend say a word, or he would learn a new word in a vocab list or something, and he would make it a point to use it in conversation the next time he spoke to somebody. Because the more you use it, the more it becomes yours and it'll stick with you better. So that's one tip I could say. At the end of the day, it'll take more repetition. That's why Anki is great, but try actively using it in your next conversation. I feel like the Japanese have too many rules. So do you have any tips or tricks to memorize the Japanese grammar? Because I feel like Japanese have too many rules and it may be hard to learn if I'm not practicing. What did you do to learn them? Yeah, again, like check out my grammar video, but at the end of the day, a lot of the grammar just makes sense. Like it'll be literally what it is. Like there's literally a grammar that says koto nai. So it's like literally koto is thing and nai being negative. And the grammar means it's not that, right? So instead of trying to memorize like koto nai, okay, it means not that thing, not that, not, just like try to break it down into its logical components. And a lot of times the grammar will make sense like that. And then you don't need to memorize it as much. Other than that, check out my video. I'm struggling. The words, it's so hard to actually get the meaning of the sentences. How do you improve your parsing? I'm struggling recently to try to read Kusamakura by Natsume. It's probably a novel. Well, I know most of the words. It's hard to get the meaning of the sentences. Yeah. I mean, reading is tough for sure because you're gonna need to know like all the grammar, all the vocab, etc. to get it down. And yeah, again, at the end of the day, it's like it's just gonna take more practice. Yeah, I would say try to look at the sentence as a whole rather than looking at each individual word one by one, because that's what I did when I was trying to pass the N2 exam and failed. I looked at each word one by one, and then after a minute of trying to like go through the whole sentence, I'm like, okay, what did I just read? Because I wasn't looking at the whole sentence. I was just trying to figure out what each individual word meant. So try to look more at the holistic sentence to get the meaning better. But at the end of the day, it's gonna take more practice. Yeah. Tips. Yeah. Okay. You guys got lots of questions. I like that. We're enthusiastic about learning Japanese. I'm beginner learning grammar. Yeah. So grammar. Watch my grammar video. There was a time when I went to a restaurant and when I said hitori desu, I got corrected by the staff and said to use ichime. I never really got the difference between the two till this day. That's interesting because I also sometimes say hitori desu. I've never been corrected. I honestly think whoever corrected you the staff, are probably just having a bad day. Because yeah, typically you say ichime when you're talking about like number of people going into a restaurant. Like they'll say nanmei sama desu ka? How many people? And then you say ichime or nime, sanmei to say number of people. Me and like the counter for people, hitori, futari, sannin, yonin. It's the exact same, the meaning. They both mean counters for people, but me just means it's just more polite. So yeah, sure, you would typically use me more, but like I'm kind of confused that they would correct you because I think you can just use hitori anyways. And you're saying hitori desu, so it's not really that, it's not rude. Exchange for, you know, switch to the other scene while I'm going over your questions. I'm living in Japan. Okay, I'm also planning on going to Japan anywhere now if I'm not fluent. Yeah, I mean, again, like you have to just, yeah, if you're going to university and you don't know if you're fluent enough, like, yeah, ask the people there. Yeah, if you know another foreigner who's there as well, that'd be great, and understand like what level they're at and if they think it's enough or not. But again, I never went through that experience, so I can't say. Yeah. Let's see, what's your thing? Yeah, living in Japan, but I still have some troubles to speak. Any tips to improve? Yeah, again, like watch my video on how to speak Japanese more fluently. But at the end of the day, like it's just going to be repetition. You have to go out and speak, and you're going to make mistakes, and it's going to suck, and you're going to embarrass yourself, and you're never going to want to speak again. But that's what it's going to take. Like it's about repetition. And honestly, the more you embarrass yourself, the more you'll remember it. Because embarrassing story, like I was hanging out with my Japanese friends at like a sushi restaurant in Canada. They were exchange students from Japan. And I ate a lot of sushi, and I was feeling full. And then they asked me, do you want to eat more? And we're speaking in Japanese, like, moto taberu no? And I was like, no, like I'm full. And to say you're full in Japanese, onaka ga oppai. Ippai. That's exactly what I literally just made the exact same mistake. I wanted to say onaka ga ippai. I'm full. And I accidentally said, like just now, onaka ga oppai. My stomach is boobs. And I was about to say it, and then I never forgot the difference, but I just made the same mistake. So, well, there goes the conclusion. But at the end of the day, you just gotta embarrass yourself, and it's gonna suck, but that's the best way to remember it. Because I have remembered the difference up until now. So, there you go. Do you plan on learning any other languages? I would want to learn, like, say, Spanish or Chinese. Even Korean's kind of fun, but like having learned Japanese, like I know how much it takes to learn a language. I could probably learn them better now that I've learned Japanese because they're more similar, at least like Korean or Chinese. And like I know how to learn languages better. But for now, I just want to keep working on my Japanese and focus on my YouTube channel. Listening to reading ratio. When you start learning Japanese, how much time should you commit per day? Yeah. Listening to reading ratio when you start learning Japanese. Again, listening and reading is more like practical Japanese, right? So when you're just starting out, you honestly shouldn't be doing a whole lot. Like the bigger part of your ratio should be that, what the other person said, dry studying, where you're just trying to build up your bank of knowledge of vocab, grammar, some kanji, and then you slowly add some more reading and listening because it actually makes sense with you and it reinforces what you learned. If you just go straight into reading and listening right away when you don't know anything, it's just going to be like white noise and you're not going to get much out of it. What's your opinion on Cure Dolly's videos? I don't actually know who that is, so no opinion. Oh, can we go with English and then learn the language on the go? I don't know Japanese yet, but can we go with English and then learn the language on the go? Can we go with English? Oh, you mean like if you move to Japan, can you get by with English and then learn Japanese as you go? Well, you should watch my latest videos about moving to Japan because I strongly recommend in that video to learn first. Doesn't need to be perfect, but about an N3 level, and then move to Japan and learn as you go and get better. But trying to learn as you go with no Japanese is going to be a rough ride. Let me tell you. Can you update how to study Japanese for free? Most of the sources in the old video are no longer available or have changed. Yeah, I've gotten a lot of questions about like the link to like the Anki deck no longer being there, but I've checked like this year and it's still there. I think just how the website's laid out is different, but I think eventually I will update that video and try to keep it as up to date as possible. So noted. Thank you, seller of words. Yeah, please ease up on the capitals because it's really hard to read when it's all caps. If I was to move to Japan, what do you think would be a good cushion amount of money? I want to make, yeah. So I addressed this in my last video, so check that one out. Specifically how much money you should save up. Do you know the app Renshu? It helps with vocabulary grammar, has a big community with a Discord server, which holds weekly events. No, I do not know that app. But if it works for you, then that's great. Can you update us? Yeah, okay. Start reading Japanese even at N5. Should I start reading Japanese even around N5? Yeah, again, same thing. Focus more on your dry studying. Build up your bank of knowledge and then get to it. How many kanji do you need to know for N5? I mean, you can look that up, but it's about 100. What did you use to self-teach? I use Anki and Nihongo.net for words and kanji, but how do you learn the grammar plus sentences and what words are right for the situation? Yeah, again, so check out my grammar video. I specifically like state like which, like the grammar guide, Take Him's grammar guide as a good one for learning grammar. And then I have some other tips as well. How do you improve reading speed? Like at the end of the day, like you're just gonna have to like keep reading. Like it's gonna come down to, do you know the words? And if you know the words, can you recognize them quickly? And recognizing them quickly or not is just going to come down to like repetition. Like you just got to read over and over. So if you want to get better at reading, you got to do more reading. And if you really want to just get fast now, I mean, I'd recommend taking it slowly and really understanding the sentence. But again, look at the sentence as a whole to get the understanding rather than each individual word if you're really just trying to get the meaning as quickly as possible. How can I start with self-studying? Great question. Check out my video on how to learn Japanese from nothing, because I explained how I did it personally and what I recommend. What books do you recommend for reading for N5 and 4 students? Yeah. I mentioned this in a previous video, but there are some, like there's a resource called Graded Learners, which is like 1,000 pages of like simple stories in Japanese. If you're at the N5, N4 level and you just want like a little bit of reading practice, that's a good one. Other than that, I mean, there's only going to really be children's books at the N5, N4 level. Like you're not going to be reading any cool like anime manga, unfortunately, as far as I know. But yeah, just practice with check out the graded readers, and maybe check out my do I have a video specifically? I recommended it somewhere, but I can't remember where. But yeah, check out the graded readers. My boy Benji, I want to start reading, but I am struggling to find content at my level that I can read. This is literally what Miles was just asking right before you. Is there a tool or set of books you could recommend? Yeah, again, graded readers are good ones. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like it depends like what your level is. Like I think you're like N4 and N3 depending on how much you've been studying lately. Yeah, but I mentioned in another video I really liked Good Job. I can show you that later, but that one's a fun one as well. Good Job. Good Job. Good Job. I think maybe it's just spelled with the G, something like that. Good Job, yeah. So GJ Club. Good, you can see this? Yeah, okay, so let me switch to my screen share. Good Job. Try to move this so that you can see it and my face isn't in the way. Yeah, it's still in the way, but yeah, it's basically Good Job. So it's let's see if I can increase the page so you can see it. It's here. GJ Bu. Good Job. So this one's just like a collection of short stories about like students in a classroom, like classic anime setting, and it's just like slice of life. And it's just like short stories that are just literally 3 or 4 pages long. So you can read it in any order you want. And it's a good intermediate level book. I'd say like if you're at N3 level, like this is, I'd say like a good solid challenge. So maybe that's one you could check out. Switch that back. And get my chat back up. Is that the chat? No, this is the chat. There we go. Now you guys are back. For N5, I need around 800 words for vocab. Which kind of words do we need actually? And what about each JLPT level? Which words do we need actually? Well, if you need around 800 words, then it's going to be around 800 words. And at N5, I wouldn't worry about learning words you don't need to know, because all the words that are like reasonably around the N5 level are going to be basic words that you're going to use all the time. So even if they don't necessarily show up on an N5 test, you should know these words. And if they're not an N5, they're probably going to be an N4. So I would just learn them. And for each JLPT level, I mean, I really wouldn't worry about learning useless words until you get to like N2, N1, where you actually do start to learn words like sapphire or like, I don't even know, like lazuri. I don't know. There's some weird words out there. Then it's like, okay, do I really need to know this? And then I would worry about that. But for now, now I wouldn't worry about it. And like a good check, I would say, is if you go to jisho.org. Let me again switch to my Mozilla. So jisho.org is like the website that I use for like a Japanese English search. If you look up a word, say you don't know if like, I don't know, hiatari. It's like exposure to the sun. It's like, I heard that, but do I really need to know that? It's an N2. I heard it in my N2 deck, but do I need to know that? If it says common word on Jisho, then there's a good chance that you should just know it. Hiatari. And in this case, hiatari, yeah, people do say it to talk about like, is there good sunshine in your apartment, etc. So I'd say that's a good double check, but I wouldn't worry about it until you get to the N2 level. All right. I think sometimes you are like Ace, helping your brothers. Really appreciate you, brother. See you soon, man. I appreciate you, homie. Tips on how to improve speaking. Again, I have a video on that. I'm in my first year of university, studying East Asian studies. Tips for progression from your experience to get to where you are now, living in Japan. Again, watch my recent video on how to move to Japan. I lay out the entire process of moving there, and of course all my other videos on how to get fluent in Japanese. Like, it's all self-studying, and most of what I know is out there. So yeah, it's just gonna take time. But yeah, check out my latest video if you specifically want to learn about living in Japan and moving here. I mainly use Duolingo to learn Japanese, and they are stuff that stuck, but still a majority of them I forgot. Yeah, that's why I don't recommend Duolingo. And it doesn't teach me stuff that's usable in real life. Yes, I agree, because the kind lawyer and cool teacher sentence is not really going to help you a lot in Japan. So yeah, I mean, watch my video on why Duolingo won't get you fluent for my specific points. And I also in that video mention what I recommend instead and why Duolingo doesn't work. So that might give you a good stepping stone as to what to do next. Yeah. Okay. Do you ever take study breaks? Did you ever take study breaks? I was studying for a year, but okay. I was studying for a year, but emergencies got in the way, so I stopped for a while. I'm trying to get back to it, but I feel like I lost momentum and have to start over. Yeah, I get that. I mean, life comes up. I did take breaks. I mean, like, I started studying when I graduated high school, and then I did like my whole undergrad and master's in life sciences, like totally unrelated to Japanese. And it was really hard to like keep it up. like in my first 2 years, I did take beginner level classes. So that helped force me to study during those like really busy years. And then after that, yeah, like during the school year, my third year, I didn't really study much Japanese because I was just doing my regular school stuff. So I fell out of it for sure. I took a break. But you just got to get back into it. And yeah, you'll have to review some stuff because you probably forgot some things in that period like I did. But I mean, you don't need to start over from zero. And even if you do want to start over from like the very beginning, you'll learn it a lot faster because you've already learned it. Even if you can't like speak it as well now, or it doesn't feel like it comes as natural to you anymore, you'll pick it up faster when you learn it a second time. So just get back into it. I wouldn't worry about that. MDX shooting your shot. If I'm looking for a video editor, I am looking for a video editor. So feel free to send me a DM on Instagram for sure. And you can maybe send me a link to whatever work you've got. Currently thinking videos help a lot. I appreciate that, Kona. Thank you. I'm glad you like my video edits. And yeah, are you having less time to make more? No, I mean, I just like it takes a long time to make my videos because they're a heavy edit for sure. So yeah, but I keep making them and I'm glad they're helping you out. I'll keep working on it. What do you do for a living in Japan? I am a content creator. Which Japanese language school do you recommend? I have not used a Japanese language school, so I can't recommend one. You have to do some research on that. So you want to move with your mom to Japan. How can you bring your family over here? So unfortunately, you said you want to get PR and bring your family over here. Yeah, unfortunately PR, it's different from naturalization. You won't have any right to bring family over with just PR unless you're married, I think is the only exception. Like I can't bring my mom over to move to Japan just because I have permanent residence now. You would need to become Japanese. You'd have to get Japanese citizenship to do that. Yeah. Special way to learn efficiently hiragana and katakana. I have a video on that. Check out my first video even. I give some tips on that. If I were to study Japanese for 1 hour every day for a year before I move, like Genki and Anki, new words every day, would that be enough to move there by the end of the year? It depends. I recommend getting to N3. It's not a hard rule. I recommend N3 before you move. Is it possible to get N3 but in 1 year? I think so. Yeah. Is 1 hour a day enough? It depends. Yeah. I mean, if you're really efficient with that 1 hour, I think it's possible, but you'd probably want to do a bit more if you want to get to a solid level like N3 by the end of the year. On Dokai, because after reading the whole passage, I forgot what happened above. I want to give N3 this July. Give me advice, please. Dokai. So yeah, Dokai, which is like reading comprehension. I'd recommend the Shinkansen series. Again, maybe I can pop it up here. Shinkansen Japanese. Reading. Yeah. So, sorry, let me just switch to my screen. Yeah, so this textbook here, the Shinkansen series, again, like, sorry, my face is in the way. I would like to get it out of the way. Yeah, how can I do that? Okay, well, now you can see it a little bit. So Shinkansen Japanese reading. So this textbook, specifically the one on reading, this is what I used for N2 and 1. And yeah, it's really good practice. It's like basically the exact same the way the JLPT passages will look like. So yeah, work on that for the reading practice, and just in general, do as much reading as you can. Like again, like the Jobu novel or whatever other novels you find that interest you, just try to read a lot. And the more you read, the faster you'll get at it. And then the Shinkansen series is just good for getting used to the JLPT questions and testing if you actually know it, because you'll have to answer the questions. And if you don't know it, you won't answer the questions right. So it's a good tester. Yep. Does learning a dialect also important, like Osaka, Yokohama, Tokyo? Yeah, I mean, you don't have to. I'd say that comes last. Like, again, if you're N4 and N5, N4, N3, just focus on learning Japanese itself. The dialect, it's fun to learn for sure. I'm learning like Osaka dialect because I think it's hilarious, and it makes everything funnier. But I wouldn't worry about it until you're like N2, N1 level. Yeah, and in general, you don't have to learn it. It's just if you want to learn that style, because you'll slowly pick it up if you're just listening to it. What do you think about the Kosen study program? Is it good? I don't know what that is, so I can't say. Is there tests to take for each level? If so, where do you take them? Yes, there are. If you just look up JLPT levels, and it'll have all the information you have there. I think it's the Japanese. My friend works there. It's like company that does JLPT. The Japan Foundation, that's what it's called. Yeah, so just go to the Japan Foundation website, and yeah, they'll tell you like where all the test sites are. How easy is the mixed scholarship? I mean, I haven't done it before, so I can't say for sure, but probably not easy because it's a full scholarship. So they'll pay for your tuition and your living expenses as well. So, and that's for foreigners to come to Japan. So it is not likely an easy scholarship, but I do know 2 people who got it, but I don't know their experience. Do you think that JLPT is mandatory to get a job in Japan? I think it helps a lot for sure. If you have N2 or higher, for sure, your job opportunities go up a lot. Do you recommend any monolingual dictionaries to start off with? Monolingual dictionaries to start off with. I'm not sure what you mean by monolingual dictionaries, like only Japanese dictionaries. Yeah, because I only ever used English-Japanese dictionaries, so I don't have any recommendations. If you're looking for one that's just entirely Japanese, which, like, respect, if you're looking to learn Japanese through just Japanese explanations. When learning kanji, should I remember the on and kunyomi readings? I find it super confusing. Yeah, I would. Yeah, I'd learn the onyomi and the kunyomi, both readings, if they have common words, essentially. So if you're learning a kanji, I just switched it, but we're gonna switch it back. Like say taberu, this kanji here. Yeah, so like Jisho, something went wrong. I have never seen that before. Okay, but basically this kanji, it can be taberu, right? Like that's the regular to eat, and that's the kunyomi. And then there's also the onyomi, which is shoku. So you'll see this a lot, like say in shokudo, which means like a cafeteria. So you should learn both, especially like wherever you're learning that kanji. Like I use the kanji study app. It'll tell you the common words for each one. And if there's a common word for both the kunyomi and the onyomi, then definitely learn both. If there isn't really a common word for one of them, then maybe you can just forget about it. But for the most part, I'd learn both. Trying to find my place in this chat. You guys have so many questions. It's hard to keep up. I want to move to Japan. How much study would you recommend I do? I want to move to Japan in 3 to 5 years for university. Should that be enough time for me to get comfortable at JLPT level? Yeah, 3 to 5 years, totally. Like if you study consistently for that time, you can definitely get there. And if you want to study in university, like in Japanese, I'd recommend getting to an N2 level, at least. The more, the better, for sure. But that's definitely enough time if you stay consistent. Minna no Nihongo, is that good for N5 and N4? I don't know. I haven't used it. I have heard of it, but I can't say for sure. Any advice on how to improve reading hiragana, katakana? Yeah. I mean, that's in my first video. So check that one out. How I became fluent in Japanese kanji. Okay, I need Monkai Japanese. Do you know anything about Akamonkai Japanese language school? I do not. unfortunately. So you're gonna have to just look that one up. I don't know a lot about language schools because again, I never went to one, so I can't say. Especially, I can't say anything from personal experience. Are you planning on making more language learning videos? Probably, yeah, probably some more in the future. But in general, I mean, there's a lot of videos on language learning, and like I could make like infinite number of videos on teaching Japanese grammar. So I wanted to just make videos that could help you get better at studying, and then you could do it on your own. But for particularly difficult topics, yeah, I'll probably make some more videos in the future. Did you use Genki books? They should place you at around N4. What would be the next step? I didn't use the Genki books, but I have a friend who used the Genki books and he said they're very good. And yeah, they do get you to around N4 apparently. And the next step is I actually cover that in my video called How to Overcome the Japanese Language Plateau. So check that one out because that one specifically talks about you're past the beginner level and then you get to that kind of weird, like you're kind of N3 but kind of not, and you don't know what to do next and you don't really feel like you're improving at all. That video covers like what you should do if you're feeling like that, so be sure to check that one out. Kanji single and onyomi when there's two or more kanji. Yeah, kunyomi when the kanji is on itself typically, and onyomi when there's two or more kanji. Yeah, that's typically how it is. Yeah, so if it's a compound of kanji, then like this shokudo example, then usually you use the onyomi. Whereas when it's by itself, like when you write taberu, then it's the kunyomi. Typically, we get through all the questions as fast as possible, especially the lokai parts. So I have to time to look through everything once more. Yeah. And what is up, Nora? Thanks for joining. Yeah, exactly. So I think the key here, like what Nora did, way better than what I did when I took the N2, is you just try to get through the questions as quickly as possible for the reading. And again, look at the sentences as a whole, right? Because like if you try to go through the nitty gritty, understand each and every single kanji, you're just going to get so slowed down and you're going to forget what the whole paragraph was about by the time you get to the end of it. So try to just go through it quickly, grab the gist of it, the overall meaning and answer, and then come back to it if you have time. I think Nora's technique is a lot better than what I did. Learning kanji is very challenging when it is combined with other kanji. We'll have different meanings and pronunciation. Do you have any tips to share? When it is combined with other kanji, different meanings and pronunciation. Sometimes it'll have different meanings and pronunciations. Like when you combine kanji, like say this shokudo example, typically the meaning is the same. Like again, like eat. So if you say taberu, it's to eat, and shokudo means cafeteria. So I mean shoku, like that kanji, it still means to eat, and it's referring to a cafeteria, a place where you eat. And this do character is like a place, like a hall. So it makes sense, like shokudo. Sometimes the meaning is irrelevant for sure, and that can be difficult. But again, like it just comes down to you have to learn your vocab so you know what that word means, and the kanji just help you pronounce it essentially. Yeah, but for the most part, the meanings do tend to stay the same, and the readings again, yeah, it's just the onyomi versus the kunyomi. Hi, I gave up learning Japanese already, but I really love your channel. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, and I'm happy to hear that at the same time. So sorry to hear you gave up. It is a tough language, but maybe when you have some more time, maybe some spike in your motivation, you'll pick it up again. But I appreciate you watching my channel anyways. That's funny though. Yeah, probably check out Japanese Pod 101 for hiragana and katakana. Exactly. Yeah, that's one of the resources I mentioned, because again, they have like a good mnemonic for each character. So like how the character looks, you know, that helps you remember it. like how I mentioned in my original video, like I said the character, I think it was it Wool? I can't remember actually. Was I talking about Wool? Yeah, it was Wool. That's the one I was talking about. So this one. Yeah, so wo. So this is a character wo, right? And so like each character, you just try to like associate it with something that reminds you of the sound. So this wo, it literally to me looks like a person standing on a surfboard, right? And then I just imagine saying like, whoa, like it's a big wave, whoa. And so Japanese Pod 101 has like a video, an hour-long video, I think both for hiragana and katakana, that essentially associates all the characters with some sort of mnemonic to help you remember it. So it is a good resource. I learned Japanese hiragana and katakana watching that channel, though Tokuyuu got a more fun way to teach. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Appreciate that, Yami. So first you go through all the questions and answer it. Yep. Yeah, that is the Nora technique that I would recommend. Go through all the questions. No, you wouldn't go through all the questions without answering any of them. You just try to go through, like you work on one passage at a time. Go through it quickly. Don't get too caught up in each one and answer those questions and then move on. So I need my Japanese is kind of N5 less. Yeah. Again, yeah, Craft Kid. Yeah, check out my videos. I have videos specifically on how to learn Japanese. Start off with either how I became fluent in Japanese kanji. That's the first one in that series. Or how to learn Japanese from nothing. Those are good places to start. Yeah. And so the question about visas, Chip, please save it for the Japanese Q&A time, which will start in 30 minutes. Kind of sad I can't send gifts. I'd be sending some goofy dancing gifts. I'm sorry. It's just a YouTube chat limitation. Yeah. Okay. So I was just reading the regular chat because I went through pretty much most of the questions in the Q&A, but now there's probably some more built up. Good question. It's kind of strange though. I think YouTube kind of shuffled all the questions around, which is a little annoying. Okay. Question of Dokai. Meaning at the same time is difficult because is living in Japan making sense anymore? So yeah, again, save that for the life in Japan section. For Dokai, read the questions first, then find it easier to find answers when reading the Dokai passages. Yeah. Right. Okay. So yeah. So what Nora did for hers, I'm assuming, based on my interpretation, is that like you don't try to like answer each question one by one as you're reading the passage. And like, say you read like a couple sentences of the passage, then you answer one, then you try to look for the next one. Just read the whole passage as a whole to get the full meaning, to get the gist of what the whole thing says, and then start looking for the answers. And then it's probably easier to find those answers because you understand the whole thing. The dancing emoji is nice. But sometimes the first question is from the last paragraph of the reading comprehension, the Dokai. That's why I struggle sometimes on it. Yeah, exactly. So if you do Nora's approach, then you read the whole thing. Because if you read the whole passage, then it doesn't matter if the first question is from the last paragraph because you've read the whole thing. Unless I'm interpreting the exact opposite of what you said. So then please correct me, Nora. Okay, I'm just gonna end this Q&A because I think the like Japanese live chat. Like I'm just going to end the Q&A chat and I'm going to start a new one. Your Japanese language questions here. Because I think YouTube kind of shuffled them around, so it was kind of hard to find the new questions. So sorry if your question got deleted, but I just started a new one. Okay, interesting. So what Nora's saying is to read the questions before you read the passage and look through it afterwards. That's interesting. So you go through the questions and then you know what you're supposed to be looking for. I like that. Yeah, I like that because it gives you context. Because I think reading the questions are probably easier to understand because they're shorter and they get to the point more. And that'll give you a context on what the passage is about, which probably helps you with your overall understanding when you read it afterwards. And you can save time by not reading the whole Dokkai passage. Okay, so you just like, you look at the questions and you just look for those answers specifically. That's fair. Yeah, it's more efficient. Probably why I didn't pass the N2. Because I tried to read the whole thing. Just watch videos on how to perform well on TOEFL sections. Apply the same to the GLPs. True. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Watch videos on how to perform well on TOEFL reading sections and apply the same to the JLPT's Dokkai. Yeah, I mean, the exams themselves are probably going to be a little bit different. But at the end of the day, it's still going to be like reading comprehension and like you have to do it in a specific amount of time. And I'm sure there's a lot more resources on how to do TOEFL and other like English language ones. So yeah, maybe there's some good advice there that you can translate to doing the JLPT. So yeah, basically, Russell, how good are the Anki listening cards? How far do they get you? As far as you are willing to go with them. Because they can go up to any level, up to N1. So it just depends on if you're doing your Anki reviews and you're putting in the vocab from N5, N4, N3, and then build your way up to N1. They can take you all the way there. Okay, hello. I am aiming for N4 in July and N3 in December. Is it possible? Yeah, I mean, it's possible if you put a lot of time into it. I would say like, yeah, at least N4 for July. Yeah, it depends how much you put into it, but I'd say at least 2 hours a day would be my recommendation. Important aspect. What would you consider the most important aspect of learning Japanese? Yeah, good question. Most important aspect. I mean, at the end of the day, like you can't choose just one, right? But if I had to pick one that's underrated, I would say it's the grammar, which is an unpopular opinion. Like most people would be like, oh, you don't need to learn the grammar. You don't need to study. You just go out there and talk to people and then you'll pick it up naturally. That does not work for me. I did not pick up Japanese naturally whatsoever. The grammar is what helped me really piece together the language so it made sense. So that's what I recommend more than anything. I mean, along with everything, it's still important to do some speaking and listening and study your vocab and kanji. It's all important. Like you can't give up any of them. But I think the grammar is underrated because it basically gives you the clues on how to put the language together, right? It puts the puzzle pieces together, why it fits the way it does, why the order is the way it is, why you use certain words where they are. So if I had to pick one, I'd say grammar. And of course, I mean, if we're even just going even more like general, what's the most important thing for learning Japanese? It's going to be the consistency and patience. I mean, I mentioned that in one of my videos called The Key, the secret to learning Japanese. And it's really just about being consistent and patient with the results. Like at the end of the day, you're not going to get fluent in Japanese in 2 months. It's not going to happen. Even if you grind like 8 hours a day, it's not going to happen. You're just going to have to be consistent over a very long period of time. Like I got N1 after 5.5 years. You can do it faster for sure, but it's still going to take a long amount of time, no matter how you slice it. So you just got to put in the time every day. And you honestly have to be okay with not seeing improvement every day, but you just keep doing it anyways. So that's the consistency and patience. That's the real most important part. But if I had to give you a concrete answer, grammar, underrated. Any tips for learning vocab? Also, should I learn the grammar before I move on to vocab? So again, vocab, I have a video specifically on how to learn vocab. Anki is great for that. I also use the Kanji study app. So while I was learning new kanji, I would learn the associated vocab for common words. And should I learn the grammar before moving on to vocab? Learn them both. If you're at N5, learn the N5 grammar and the N5 kanji, or N5 grammar and N5 vocab. If you're at N4, learn the N4 vocab and N4 grammar. Like just learn them both. They complement each other really well. How to memorize hiragana and katakana faster? We answered that. Rewatch the VOD, because we talked about that. Good way to learn them. Have you been learning kanji readings for people's names? Oh my god, dude. Dude, if there's anything that sucks ass about learning Japanese, it is learning kanji readings for people's names or place names or station names. Oh my god, it's the worst. You think it's pronounced one thing and it is pronounced totally different. I wish I could like think of an example right now, because it's actually out freaking rageous, some of these spellings. Let's see. Weird station names. Japan. Oh yeah, there's freaking Sannomiya. I hate this one. This one pisses me off so much. So sorry, if I switch to my screen sharing. So Sannomiya is in Kobe. Sannomiya is kind of blocked by my name right now, but it's Sannomiya. And the station name looks like this. I'm pretty sure that's how they write it. Sannomiya. But literally, if you look at it, it's just San and Miya. But they expect you to know that you just say Sannomiya. So like sometimes they'll put in the katakana no just because they feel bad for you. Like, oh yeah, sorry, you actually do pronounce the no in there. It's Sannomiya. But oh my god, it's the worst. And names are like that too. Like they'll just put in a kanji, and like it's just however you thought you studied how it's read, it's just totally different. You just got to get used to it. Is it worth learning? Yeah. I mean, if you're at that level, like if you're at N5 and 4, don't worry about it. Like it's just going to depress you. But if you're at N2 and 1, then yeah, like slowly like start to learn people's names, and like you'll get a feel for it. And there are definitely common names and common like probably station name patterns on how they're read. So it's just experience, but I would say that comes at the very end of your Japanese language learning journey, because that freaking sucks. That just gave me PTSD. Oh my goodness. Alright, let's chat here. Okay. Yeah, okay, there we go. When would you exactly know if you should move on to the next level? Like when exactly am I supposed to move on from N5 to N4, and how would I know? Yeah, I mean, test yourself. Like go, if you think maybe I'm good enough to move on to N4, test yourself on the N5 kanji, vocab, and grammar. And don't cheat. Like literally like go, I'm sure there are Anki decks for this, and just like look at the kanji and test yourself. Can I read this? Do I know the meaning? And if you know the meaning for like 80 to 90% or more of them, then yeah, I'd say you're good enough. But if you only know, say, half of them, testing yourself with the kanji, the vocab, and the grammar, then I would like keep studying and get it to a point where you know 80, 90% of them, and then move on. I'll learn vocab also, but I want to use real life conversations. Any advice on how I can do that and where I can find people online communities to have conversations with? Okay, so you're learning vocab and you want to know how to use it in real life conversations. So yeah, again, I have a video on how to speak Japanese more fluently, but yeah, there's like good online resources like italki. where you can hire a Japanese tutor and you can practice speaking even if you don't live in Japan. And yeah, just like try to find some Japanese people in your area, maybe exchange students, maybe some meetup events if there's any Japanese ones. I'd say those are the main ones. But yeah, I mean, it's the age of the internet now. Like you can find online tutors or just like online language exchange partners, and you can practice that way. But italki is a way you could pay someone to like be your tutor and practice conversation with. And I think there's another one called Hello Talk. That's an app where you can meet people from other countries who are learning your language and you're learning theirs, and you can connect, and like it's free. You don't pay them as a tutor. You just kind of do some language exchange with them. Hello Talk is what it's called. I've never used it, but my friend used it. I think a couple of my friends used it actually. But yeah, Hello Talk. It's a pretty good one. Did you study grammar in depth or just let it stick to you through immersion? Yeah, I would say both. I learned the grammar in depth. Like I studied all the grammar on the grammar lists, and then doing it through immersion helped it stick better. It's always going to be both. Like for me specifically, I benefit a lot from being able to study it first and then have it sit in. And then the immersion, hearing people say it, using it myself is what solidifies it and makes it mine. So it's always going to be both. Just depends what you're more comfortable with. But in general, I would recommend you study it and then use it and hear it in practice. Are the 1026 kanji in elementary school enough for N3? It should be, yeah. Because I think N5, N4, N3 probably combined are going to be around like maybe 600 characters, if I had to guess at the top of my head. So yeah, totally. That'd be more than enough. It'll probably get you to N2. Before you... So how much time did you spend immersing before you moved to Japan? Yeah, I mean, I spent a lot of time studying, of course, because I lived in Canada. So it's kind of hard to immerse while I'm in Canada. But I had a lot of Japanese exchange student friends. And yeah, they were really nice to have, just to have casual conversation to immerse a little bit more. And then I would listen to, say, like anime or like Japanese dramas. I would read some easy Japanese news, read some novels. Yeah, so it wouldn't be like, what is it? AJATT, AJAT, all Japanese all the time. I definitely didn't do that. Yeah. But yeah, I would probably be exposed to Japanese at least 1 or 2 hours like every day, I would say. Best books for practice for vocabulary, for grammar and kanji for each N level. Yeah, so I have videos on vocab and grammar specifically. Best books, again, I didn't use a lot of textbooks, but like I hear the Genki series is good, but it only takes you up to N4. But yeah, my recommendations, my best recommendations are in my videos. How much is causative and other non-tense forms used in everyday Japanese? I'm having trouble with remembering them, and no matter how much I study, I just mix them. Causative and other non-tense forms. So by causative, are you referring to like saseru? Please let me know. Like saseru, like to make someone do da da da. That was by Miki. Yes. Okay. So saseru. So how do you know if it's the causative or just a regular verb? Other non-tense forms. Yeah. I mean, for the most part, like if it's saseru, like if it's the causative. So this is causative. Causative. Is that how you spell it? I don't even know how you spell causative in English. Good thing I'm not teaching English. So causative saseru, to make someone do. So if you were to, again, say the word. So again, back to these verbs, the u verbs, do verbs, and exception verbs. They all get conjugated a little bit differently depending on which one they are. So for the u verbs, so like asobu, it's going to be asobaseru. 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 So you take that last bu, asobu, and you make it a ba sound and then add seru. So it sounds like saseru, it's asobaseru. So those are the u verbs. Make that a bit bigger. And then for the ru verbs, let's try to for the ru verbs, so like taberu, it's gonna be tabe saseru. So again, you just drop the last ru and make it saseru, tabe saseru. And then the exception verbs, like for suru, it's just saseru on its own. And for kuru, to come, it's ko saseru. But we'll just focus on these two for now, these two groups. So asobaseru and tabesaseru. So what kind of verbs are you mixing them up with? So you said you're mixing them up with non-tense verbs. So like, for example, like just your regular taberu. I mean, the key is, again, just to look out for this saseru part, or aseru, baseru, because you should be able to tell once you get used to picking up the spoken Japanese, because it can be very quick. But this will just be asobu, sobu, and the other one would be taberu. So listen out for the aseru sound, aseru, asobaseru, to make someone play, or to make someone eat, tabesaseru, I'm gonna make you eat, versus I just eat, I just play. Yeah, if there's anything more specific that you're having trouble with, let me know. But the main thing is to look out for just the sound of aseru, because that's typically what it is. To ji, zu, and o. Can you tell me the difference between the two ji, zu, and o? Okay, so you're talking about, so ji is like ji and ji, and then it's a good question. Ji and what is it? Oh yeah, the zu and zu and wo. So I'm guessing this one you're referring to o and o, wo, wo. Yeah, let's try to make this more clear that this is a separate point. So the difference between them, I actually asked my Japanese friends this before because I was not sure like what's the difference between zu and ji and ji. So for the most part, let me just make sure you guys can see all that. So for the most part, don't worry about it. Technically, these are different, this ji and ji, but like this is the one you use like 99% of the time. Like I can't even think of a word that uses that. I can't even remember that one. But like pronunciation wise, if you just say ji, you'll be fine. Like I don't think it sounds unnatural. And the Japanese person I asked, like, what's the difference? They like kind of explained it to me, but then they're saying like, honestly, like Japanese people nowadays, like they don't even like differentiate it. They just say like ji for both. And same with zu, and I think it's like zu. I think like that second one would technically be like a DZU. So this would be zu, and this would be like zu. But again, if we have some Japanese people in the chat, please correct me. And then for this one, again, I think it's like ji for the first one, ji, and it would be like G. 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 But yeah, again, I'm hoping some Japanese people could help us out here, but for the most part, I don't think it really matters. And then wo, I mean, I've always kind of said wo, like a little bit of like a soft W in front of the second one, wo, wo. But I think technically it's just the same, wo, but it just kind of sounds like wo. But again, like that one, like again, I've been studying for 12 years and I honestly don't even know the difference. I wouldn't worry about it. You can just say wo, wo. Maybe just do a soft W like I do. Don't even know if it's correct. I just do it. No one's called me out on it before. But that's a really good question. That's one that's always confused me as well. Hanaji. Hanaji, yeah, it's a good one. King Julian, yeah, good point. Good point. I like that. Hanaji. Yeah, so King Julian said Hanaji. Hanaji. Hana. Okay, I can't even spell it right. Hana, because it's like special G. Hanaji. So this Hanaji means nose and blood. What do you think nose plus blood means? So this is Hanaji. Hanaji. So this is nosebleed. Hanaji. And the reason why it's the second one, the G, and not the G, is because this second character is chi, like blood. It means blood, and it's pronounced chi. So if you got rid of the dakten here, it's just chi. But because sometimes when you have the second pronunciation after the first one, it adds the dakten. This one is specifically going from chi to ji. So that's why this one is specifically ji. Yeah, good example, King Julian. Thank you. Like in standard Japan, Tokyo, it's not differentiated, but in rural areas there is a differentiation. That's interesting. Yeah. So yeah, again, like moral of the story, you don't really need to worry about the differences here. I would just say G, really, and just say Zu. You'll be all right, and Wo. You'll be okay. 10. Okay, Nora is saying pronunciation is the same for both. It's just that the G and Zu only appear in words that have the second kanji rendaku. So she's saying that this is written as like a chi with a dakten, but it's actually just pronounced the exact same. And Nora did Japanese studies in university, so I would say she's pretty good. I don't know what my Japanese friend was saying, that there is technically a difference, but Japanese people don't typically differentiate them anymore. I mean, even if Japanese people don't even know, then like you'll be okay. So just focus on using the regular pronunciation. Yeah, that was a good question though. That's definitely a question that I've had before. And thank you, Nora, for dropping your insight. All right, and thank you, Nubis, for the question. Did you ever time tracking for your Japanese? Did you ever do time tracking for your Japanese study? So I'm assuming you're asking, did I track the time it took me to study Japanese, or the time that it took me to answer questions like in preparation for the JLPT? I'm gonna assume you're asking time tracking for your Japanese study, like how much I do each day. In that sense, no, I didn't track how much I studied each day. It happened to be about 30 to 40 minutes every day while I was going to school, because that's just how long it took me to do what homework I had set for myself. So my homework when I was doing the N1 was to do 5 new characters a day and review the past 3 days, which would be 15 characters. So I would do the new 5 and their associated vocab, write them down, and then I would review the last 15. And I would do some like Anki here and there as well, and maybe like watch an episode of whatever. But like that specifically kanji and vocab studying took me about like 40 minutes every day. But I wasn't aiming for like a specific amount of time. But it just happened to be like the right amount that could fit during my lunch break. Do you recommend writing kanji to help in memorization? 100% I do. 100% I recommend writing the kanji to help. Like, I cannot write kanji for shit anymore. Like if you asked me to write hana, I'd be like, oh god. I do not remember, but I probably wrote it like 100 times when I learned it. And even though I can't write it anymore from memory, it helped me read it better. Because when you write it, when you like, okay, you appreciate the little details more. Because if I just learn to like try to recognize what that looks like, it's kind of vague. And it's really easy to lose sight of the details and mix it up with similar kanji. I don't know what like a good example is of like similar looking kanji. But even something like this, like mere, like they look kind of similar. And then say even if we put in like ima. Like especially look at these two. Like that is kind of ridiculous. Like if you're just trying to learn it without writing, like the difference between these two, you're just like, okay, just like there's kind of like a tick at the end here, I guess, for day. But if you're writing it, you really learn to know the patterns. Like when you're writing that first one, you're like, oh, okay, it's this, it's ma, it's katakana ma. You appreciate it more. And if you write the second one, then it's like, oh, okay, it's just like katakana ra. Okay. And then when you're reading it, it's a lot easier to differentiate the two. So I really do recommend writing them down. Even if it doesn't like translate into being able to write it down forever. I mean, I could probably learn it faster to write them down because I've studied before, but it does help just with reading. So I do recommend that. Like, look at these. This is ridiculous. How are you supposed to know the difference in the beginning? I'm a bit confused on how to understand sentences. I think it's not so but I find it completely different meaning. Yeah, I mean, again, if you're having difficulty understanding sentences, it's just going to come down to, I think the grammar 100% is going to be the biggest driver of improving your understanding the grammar, and then learning the vocab as well. Because I mean, that's what the sentences come down to. It's just like, do you know the words, the meanings themselves? And do you know the grammar that's giving them the associated meaning, like how they're interacting with each other? Yeah, what would a daily study routine consist of if you had like 30 minutes a day? Again, yeah, check out my How to Learn Japanese from Nothing video. If you're studying from zero, then I do have some tips there on what you should use for vocab, grammar, etc. Yeah, but again, at the end of the day, it's going to be vocab studying, kanji studying, grammar studying. And if you're at the beginning, you're not going to do a lot of listening and speaking, but you can fit in a little bit. At what level did you start studying pitch accent, if at all? Yeah, good question. Honestly, after I finished my N1. Yeah, pitch accent, like I wouldn't worry about it too much. Like learning the vocab, grammar, kanji, you know, how sentences work is a lot more important than getting the perfect pitch accent. Like for those of you who are not as familiar, so you have hashi, which means bridge, hashi, and then you have hashi. It's this one, hashi. Chopsticks. It's more complicated than this. Like it's not super complicated, but it's a little bit more than this. But for now, just think of it like that. And hashi, it goes like this. It goes down. Like it starts high. Hashi. Whereas for bridge, it's hashi. It goes up. Hashi. But again, like I didn't even pay attention to this until after N1. I watched like Dogen's video on like pitch accent, and then like, oh, this thing exists. That makes sense. So I wouldn't worry about it too much until you're at like a more advanced level. It doesn't hurt to watch the video just to get an idea of what pitch accents exist, and you can probably pick them up a little bit better if you knew about it like ahead of time. So yeah, watch a beginner level on pitch accents, but don't get too caught up on it, because like it really is not integral to you understanding and speaking Japanese. It just helps you sound more natural. Yeah. And it is now 10:30, so it is time to go on to life in Japan questions. So I'm going to start a new Q&A. Life in Japan questions here. So yeah, thank you all for your Japanese language questions. Feel free to keep asking language questions as well, but I will prioritize the questions about life in Japan that I see. So feel free to throw those in. I'll give you a few seconds to put your questions in. For now, we can vibe in the chat. Same, I'm doing my engineering and learning at the same time, but now learning N3, it's hard to manage time. I feel you, Shido. That's what I did. I did my university degree, which is like science, totally different from Japanese, and I just like learn it at the same time. And yeah, as you like get to the higher levels, it can get difficult to do both. But I mean, if you've gone to N3, like honestly, like great job. Just keep it up. Keep doing what you're doing and don't overextend. Like if you can only afford to do like 20 minutes a day, then just stick to that. If that's what helps you do it every day, because doing it every day is ultimately going to be more important than doing like 2 hours on one day. You're feeling really motivated, and then the next day you're like, oh God, I'm like so busy with engineering. There's no way I can do 2 hours. And then you kind of fall out of it. So yeah, just keep it up. You're doing a great job. Are you currently working in Japan? If so, how are you living your, I guess, liking your experience so far? I'm an SDE and I'd really like to move to Japan. I'm just scared of job culture. So I'm not sure what an SDE is. SDE job. What is that? Software development engineer. Yeah, true. That's probably very much in demand in general. Yeah, so I was working at a Japanese company, a pharmaceutical company, for the last 3 years, and I quit last year to work on my content creation full time and talent work. In general, my work culture, like my job was just really good. Like no overtime. My coworkers were amazing. My bosses were amazing. They would be like, "Oh, it's 4 o'clock. You know what? Let's just go home. It's all good. It's raining. We don't want to get wet." And just like, let's go home early. Like that is an exceptional experience in Japan for sure. I'd say the main thing you want to look for is don't just join any company in Japan, because there are a lot of buraku kigyo, black companies that will like squeeze you dry for every ounce of life you have and make you work hella overtime. Typically, there's a difference between gaishike and naishike. So there's what they call gaishike companies. Let me add gaishike. So gaishike, these are foreign companies essentially. And then there is naishike. And I am sure you could guess what that means. Naishike, and these are domestic companies. So yeah, there's naishike and gaishike. And typically gaishike are going to have better work-life balance because this is the company I worked for as well. It was gaishike, a foreign company. Because the headquarters are typically like outside of Japan, like their work culture like trickles down from the top. And even though say your workplace is in Japan, like it's a Japan branch of a foreign company, it'll typically be better work-life culture because it's say European or like American or whatever. Whereas naishike is just a purely Japanese company. It's Japan based. These will typically have worse work-life balance because it's traditional Japanese, like you're working 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. on average, and like you're putting in some overtime just baked in. That's assumed. Not all the time, but in general, that's typically the pattern. Gaishike tend to be a little bit nicer, a little bit more open-minded, better work-life balance, and Naishike is going to be a little bit tougher. But again, like, do your research. See, like, ask people if you can find people who work there, or you're talking to the recruiter. Ask how much overtime there is, how much vacation days, etc. All right, let's check out the Q&A here. All right. Would you recommend solo traveling? Duo. Okay, sorry. Vibing in chat. What is up, Kaylin? Thanks for vibing in chat. I appreciate you being here. My homie. Homie from day one. If you saw my latest video on moving to Japan, that's my boy. The one who drove me to the airport at, I think it was 3 in the morning. When I moved to Japan, he drove me to the airport 3 in the morning. So he's a homie. Shout outs to Kaylin, bro. Okay. Would you recommend solo traveling or duo traveling? It's totally up to you. I duo traveled when I first came to Japan and absolutely loved it. Like, I had my friend Michael, who's half Japanese, so he could translate for me. And he came to Japan every other summer, so he was more experienced. So going with him definitely leveled up my trip to Japan so much, because I was like, he could do everything. Like, he could buy the train tickets. He knew where to go, the best places to go. When we go there, he could talk to the locals and like give me the history on like that area and what they're doing and the food we're eating. And if I went on my own as like some 18-year-old dummy who doesn't know anything about Japan, like, maybe you're a bit better than I was, but I would have got so much less out of that trip. So if you have someone who knows Japan better, I would go with them if you can, because they can level up your experience. And even if you don't have a friend like that and you just go with a partner, a friend, I think it's a lot more fun. Like, personally, I like traveling with others rather than solo traveling, but it's up to you at that point. How do you get to know new people in Japan? Yeah, so yeah, Anubis, check out my latest video on moving to Japan. In the last section about like how to thrive there, I mentioned what's a good way to meet people, and Meetup, the app Meetup, is one of the best ways I find to do it, where that you can just find local events in your area, and it's a good mix of Japanese and non-Japanese people. So that's my recommendation. But yeah, check out my video for my other recommendations too. How much time and money would be spent on healthy eating? So yeah, I would say, sorry, let me switch to my just chatting so we can, we're vibing more, you know, vibing in my room, just you and me. You and me, chat. How much you spend on healthy eating and living? Groceries in Japan are a lot more reasonable than Canada for sure, and probably America. And I can't say about Europe, but I mean, I visited my sister in the UK, definitely cheaper than the UK. You can buy fresh produce in Japan for very cheap. So I would say healthy living in Japan is, I would say it's cheaper for sure than in the West, in my opinion. If you want to buy fruit, woo, good luck. You're going to be paying money. Like strawberries, I like eating strawberries with my cereal for breakfast, and I drop like $8 or $10 on a pack of strawberries, bro. It hurts. Yeah, it's painful. And it gets more expensive. Like, you can pay like $20 for a single melon if you want to. It gets even more expensive than that. Like, bananas are still reasonably priced, etc. Like, you can still get some basic fruit for reasonable prices, but they're typically a bit more. But vegetables and just groceries in general are a lot cheaper. So I'd say it's cheaper to eat healthy in Japan. It's just cheaper to live in Japan in general. As far as I know, they're changing the PR requirements. Do you know what that involves? Yeah, so I did look into this. I know we talked about this briefly. As far as I know, the permanent resident requirements are not going to change in terms of who's eligible. They're just going to increase the price of application. Like, when I applied, I think technically the application, I can't even remember. It wasn't significant. It was like $100 or less for sure. Probably less. But as far as I know, they're going to be increasing the application price to $1,000, which is like a huge jump. but I don't think they're actually changing the requirements themselves. You just got to pay more. And honestly, I mean, yeah, dropping $1,000 kind of sucks, but it's a one-time thing for PR. You never need to do it again. It could be worse, in my opinion. I don't think it's that bad. Yeah, are there new PR requirements for Japan? I'm pretty sure they're not changing, but who knows? Mandatory. Okay. Actually, yeah. There are planned changes, anticipated. They're not actually like hard plans, but anticipated for the coming this year and next year, including mandatory Japanese language proficiency. And honestly, I'm kind of with them on that. Yeah, I honestly think Japanese language, because I remember, like, if you want to get citizenship in Japan, you need to have Japanese language proficiency, but for permanent residence, you don't. It just gives you some more points. And I was like, why can someone who doesn't speak any Japanese get permanent residence? That just, like, are they really committed to living in this country? So honestly, maybe an unpopular opinion, but I think mandatory Japanese language proficiency is a reasonable measure to be included in PR. Here, sorry, I'll switch to my camera's going to block a little bit of it, but it's a mandatory Japanese language proficiency. Stricter income checks. I don't know what that means. Like what other income checks are you getting? Like, you just have to have like a proper job, right? And potential revocation of PR for malicious non-payment of taxes. Yeah, this one's actually, I think, already in effect, I thought. But this one sounds scary. But if you look into it, like revocation, they're going to take away your PR. It's really only, malicious non-payment of taxes or social insurance. So if you're like actually trying to avoid paying taxes, or you're avoiding paying health insurance. I think another one was like, if you're not carrying around your permanent residence card, which you should be carrying around all the time, then they have grounds to revoke your PR. There haven't been any cases of it yet, and I think, again, this is still like anticipated, but I think it's not meant to be like, oh, let's deport all the foreign residents. It's more like for people who are abusing the system, like for the people who are getting free healthcare in Japan but not actually paying into the social insurance but are permanent residents. Like, I mean, those people probably don't deserve to be in Japan and benefit from the social services, right? So if it's used properly, I wouldn't be too scared about these new rules, right? If it's abused, like if we get like a freaking malicious dictatorship coming and they start like just revoking PRs just because they hate foreigners, then yeah, we're probably in some trouble here. But I don't think that's the goal here. I think it's generally just to clean up the system, get people who actually care about the language in the country, and people who pay their taxes. I mean, that's pretty reasonable. If you miss taxes, like you say you make a mistake, like, oh, I forgot to claim this amount of money, then I think you're going to be okay, because it specifically says for malicious non-payment of taxes. So I don't think they're just going to start deporting people randomly. But yeah, that's an interesting topic for sure. And definitely one I'm invested in as well, because I have PR now and I don't want to get deported. I'm paying my taxes, I swear. I'll pay double. Just tell me where. Where do I deposit? Yeah. Okay, let me find where I was in the Q&A. Okay, there we go. Okay, sorry, let me check the main chat as well. Unfortunately, in YouTube, I have to like switch between both of them, but in case people have comments on what I'm talking about. Language proficiency is fair and understandable. Yeah, 100%, Andrew. Like come on, like if you want to live in a country long term, learn the language. Like, sure, like if they expect like N1 perfect fluency, like, yeah, okay, that's a little bit tough for some people. I'd say N2 if you want to be a permanent resident. N2, like, you want to be able to talk to people. Like, you're not trying to like bring in a bunch of people into your country who don't speak the language. Like, they're not gonna like meld in well with everybody, because they're gonna they can't interact properly, and you're just gonna have like a bunch of mini communities in your country rather than one big we are Japan residents, you know? So I think language proficiency is totally fair and reasonable. 100%. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I was shocked too that you don't need Japanese for PR. Like, it's like, what? Like, are you kidding? Like, come on, you want to live here permanently? having a PhD in high paid job counts a lot for PR. Yeah, it does. You get so many points for high education and high salary specifically. Just you're instantly a PR. You're a permanent resident for sure. So possibly they want to sort of the people coming without threatening them off with language requirements. But I agree, it doesn't make too much sense. Yeah, true. I guess if you want to attract like highly talented people, like people who have PhDs and high salaries, and remember like PR, you can get it as quickly as 1 year. Like how good are you going to get at Japanese in 1 year? You know, probably not enough to be proficient. So yeah, I guess it could kind of scare off those people, but I think as long as they make the requirements like reasonable, I'd say at least N3 is what I would like to see. N2, N3, N2 I'd say is reasonable for me. Then I mean, yeah, you just like put in your time to learn to get up to that level, and I don't know, I think it's fair. Yeah. Well, maybe I can speak. Yeah. It's so complicated paying taxes. Yeah, in Japan it is a little bit. In my country it's just automatically taken away for my side. I don't even have to worry about it. Actually, in Japan, if you work for a company, you don't need to worry about it at all. Your company takes care of it. When I worked for my company, I didn't have to worry about it at all, and I loved that so much. You just have to fill out like a form, and for me it was super easy. I was like, hey, like I'm not married, like I don't have dependents, like not really a side job, and then you submit it and like done. I didn't need to worry about income tax or whatever. So Japan, it's not that complicated unless you work for yourself, which I now do, and it sucks. So I'll let you guys know because I have to submit my taxes within a month. So I'll give you guys an update on how much it sucks. Okay, how is summer in Japan? It frickin' sucks. It frickin' sucks. It's so hot and humid. Mass N3 this year. Nice. Good luck. You got it. I'm rooting for you. All right, let me move back to the Q&A. How's general living in Japan as a content creator? I want to move to Japan and be a content creator as well. I want to know what it's like. I don't know, it's hard to explain. Yeah, I mean, in general, it's really nice. Honestly, I think the worst part about Japan is if you work for Burak Kigyo, a black company, and you have to work hella overtime and you just hate your life because you have no work-life balance. That's the one thing that sucks about Japan. But if you can like avoid that, if you work for yourself, like as a content creator or whatever, and you have good work-life balance, Japan's amazing. Like great transportation, food's amazing, people are so kind, there's so much to do. It's like a small country, but there's so much like culture and things to see. Like it's amazing. So yeah, life here, working for yourself or having a well-balanced job, fantastic. If you know Japanese especially. Do the people there respect other religions like Islam, Muslims, and other? Yes, I think in general they do. The only issue is that there's not going to be a lot of people of religion because Japan is like 97% ethnically Japanese, and typically Japanese are not religious. They like practice, they go to like temples and stuff and like they pray, but it's not to any specific religion. They feel spiritual. So there's not like, if you're coming to Japan as like a Muslim, as far as I know, there's not going to be any hate towards you for the most part. It's just going to be, there's not going to be a lot of accommodation for you. Like if you have some food restrictions, it's going to be hard to find places that cater to your specific food needs as like a religion. And if you are trying to like say preach your religion, again, like I think Japanese people are not super interested in like, you know, religion. So there's not going to be a lot of receptiveness to that. I think as long as you're being respectful of their culture and like playing by their rules, essentially, like you're following their customs, then they don't care. Like they honestly, for most part, they couldn't care less what religion you are. Like they're like, oh, you do those kind of prayers. Oh, that's interesting. That's cool. Yeah, I don't think there'd be a lot of hate. Of course, there's always going to be some people who hate, But in general, I think you're all right. I have a hand tattoo on both hands. Would it be impossible for me to work in Japan or teach English there? It would definitely get tougher, especially on your hands. If it's like, it's clear, right? You can't like cover it up with your clothes. It does make it tougher. It wouldn't say it's impossible, but it does limit your options for sure. Like it would be really hard to work for just a typical Japanese company. Definitely. You could definitely still work at bars. I'd say most bars wouldn't care. Like a lot of part-time jobs, you know, especially night jobs wouldn't care, but it does make it difficult in teaching English. I don't know the JET program's specific requirements or any other like programs for teaching English. You'd have to like look into them specifically, but it could make it difficult because yeah, unfortunately they're still not super open to tattoos. I think you started a normal job, didn't you? Was it fun? Yeah, again, like I really like my job. It was gaishike, like I was explaining before, right? And it, like really good work hours. My coworkers and my boss were like super friendly. They were amazing, and the job itself was interesting as well. Is moving to Japan on a J-Fine visa to find a job good? Sorry, I don't know the J-Fine visa, so I couldn't tell you. I don't know what that is. Japanese designated activities visa allow top-tier international university graduates to reside in Japan for up to 2 years to look for work and prepare to start a business. That's interesting. So it eliminates the need for an initial job offer, facilitating job hunting, networking, business setup while staying in the country. Yeah, that's interesting. I have no idea. I'm sorry, I've never used it, and I don't think I've ever met anyone who's used it, but that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, if you have the money to just live in Japan without a job, I'd say like totally, why not? Why wouldn't you? And then like work on learning Japanese and finding a job, and then transition to a work visa or whatever else visa you want to do. I'd say that's great if you could get it. Okay. Thank you so much, man. Thank you. Folks. My folks are like, I won't be able to manage in a different country, but I feel like Japan will feel more like home to me. I don't know. What's your take on this? Yeah, it's up to you. I mean, I'm managing in a foreign country. I mean, you can too. My biggest advice is just to learn Japanese, respect the culture, and you'll fit in and you'll make communities here, you know? But yeah, I mean, you won't know until you move here and you try it out. So I wouldn't write yourself off or let your parents write yourself off before moving here. Yeah, and if you feel like the culture jives with you and you've been studying the language and you have a good understanding of what it is, then why wouldn't you? I feel overwhelmed learning Japan and home country tax rules. Was it difficult for you? Did you hire someone? Yeah, I mean, I just looked it up, and luckily like Japan and Canada, which is my home country, have a tax treaty. So you don't need to pay double taxes as long as you're paying taxes in one of your countries. So yeah, it just kind of depends on what your home country is, and you'll have to look up specifically if there's a tax treaty, and if not, what the implications are. Yeah. How about frozen fruit? I like strawberries. Frozen fruit, I think, are reasonably priced. They're not outrageous. They're reasonably priced. Want to move to Japan, but don't know if I should go to Kyoto or Tokyo. Yeah, I mean, up to you. I mean, Tokyo is definitely like where it's happening. Big city, you can do anything. But it's also really busy, and it can come off as cold because people are in business mode. Kyoto will be, you know, a little bit quieter. Still things to do. It's still a big city, but not as hectic as Tokyo. Maybe a little bit warmer, a little bit. Probably a lot of tourists, but there'll probably be a lot of tourists in both of them. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it just depends what you're looking for. Big city life, or like a smaller, reasonably sized city with more culture. Yeah, up to you. Could you fail a PR application for some reason? Honestly, if you go through a paralegal, they'll tell you if you will pass or not. Like if you're doing the point system for PR and you have enough points, My paralegal literally told me I have never seen someone not get PR if they've had enough points. It only happened one time, and it was because they were working a side job and they didn't report their income. So as long as you're not like hiding funds from the government and you have enough points, it sounds like you guarantee get it. If you do PR through other means, I think the main thing that stops you is if you haven't paid your taxes or you haven't paid your social insurance properly, etc. But especially if you go through a paralegal and they tell you you're going to make it, like they'll know for the most part before you even submit an application. So, but you should definitely get PR, Nora. Move to Japan. Join us. Is racism a problem there for foreigners? Yeah, I mean, not really. Again, similar to the religion thing, like Japanese people aren't, from my experience, they're not openly racist. It's just a lack of accommodation and a lack of understanding. Like, if you're a foreigner, you'll probably get looked at a lot depending on where you go. Like, I don't get looked at that much, to be honest. Without, I think, yeah, being in Osaka helps. Like, it's a big city. Probably same with Tokyo. But if you go to a small town, you're probably going to get looked at a lot and probably generalized as well, even in the big cities as well. Like, people always ask me, it's like, oh, you have bread for like dinner, right? Like, not rice. And I'm like, so you guys just think you guys just think every foreigner just has bread for dinner, like instead of rice, like steak, good old steak and bread. Like, I have rice all the time back in Canada. So there's just like generalizations that they have, but it's never like racially charged. It's just like a lack of understanding because there's not a lot of cultural diversity in Japan. So I wouldn't say there, of course, are going to be racist people in any country, of course, but I wouldn't say it's a problem. You're just going to have to deal with the fact that you'll always be a foreigner in some sense just because you look different, especially if you're not Asian. And there'll just be a little bit of cultural ignorance, but by no means like in any bad, ill-intentioned way. It's just a lack of knowledge, and Japanese people are generally very kind. So I've never had an issue with racism. Yeah. All right. So it's getting close to the end of our time here. 2 hours just kind of flew by. Damn. Yeah, Mickey, gotta say I'm enjoying the stream. I hope you continue streaming. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I mean, I hope I answered like as many questions as I could. Like I answered as many as I could, but I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of questions that I couldn't get to, and I'm sorry for that. But I mean, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Hey man, love your videos. What are some important things you realized after moving to Japan that you may not have learned otherwise? What is up, Jaredess? You may not have learned otherwise as a tourist, Kakusei. Yeah, I mean, after moving to Japan, things I learned. I mean, in general, yeah. I mean, you just kind of like understand the culture a little bit better. Like, you know, when I first moved here, I thought like, okay, like I'm just gonna be me. Like I'm gonna just be my outgoing self, and like I'm gonna like, you know, be really outgoing, talk to random people, da 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 da. And that's totally fine for sure. But I feel like I kind of understand that Japanese people are more reserved, and maybe it's a bit better to like kind of let them warm up a bit more, and then like, you know, be like more of my energetic, like fun self. And after you've like kind of broken those walls down a little bit. So I guess one thing I learned is that, you know, I've kind of understood more the Japanese feeling for being more reserved, I guess. But yeah, it's nothing like that they're mean or they don't like you. It's just that it takes a while for them to warm up. I think that's one big thing I learned. Yeah. But yeah, anyways, so yeah, I know, right? Sakana, like freaking time flew by. Yeah, and okay, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, yes. I'm glad you enjoyed the stream as well. Yeah, I had a lot of fun. Thank you for asking your questions, and I'm glad you guys enjoyed it as well. And yeah, I'll definitely do some more streams in the future. And yeah, I mean, let me know what you find helpful, what you liked, what I could do better. I think I'll try like keeping like my face off the screen more. I didn't realize I'd be using like Google as much. So I'll try to find a way to make my face not block the screen. But if there's anything else that I can do better formats, etc., then yeah, please let me know in the live chat or in the comments if you're watching afterwards. I'll try to find a way to like split up the main chat and the Q&A so I'm not just stuck in one as well. But yeah, appreciate it. Thank you guys for stopping by. Yeah, and yeah, I'll try to do some more live streams in general. Like I started this just to be able to connect with you guys more. And you know, it takes a long time to upload my videos because I put so much time into each video that I thought, you know, live streaming would be a good way to fill in the gaps. So yeah, again, thanks for voting and telling me that you guys wanted to know more about how to learn Japanese and life in Japan. So, you know, here it is. And yeah, I'll try to do some more in the future. But yeah, definitely let me know what I can do better. And let's keep making the streams better as we go, right? Should dual stream. Yeah, I mean, I could multi-stream in the future, so it's on like Twitch as well. But for now, I like to keep it in like one place. So it's like, you know, because like all my YouTube subscribers are here on YouTube, right? And it's just kind of easier. They'll see the notification. Everything's on YouTube. It's just like cleaner. But for sure, if I get more comfortable with streaming, I could just like, may as well just throw it on Twitch or something. Yeah. All right, guys, I'm going to sign off. But yeah, thank you for taking the time to spend 2 hours with me or however long you decided to stick around. And yeah, and I'm sure it was an odd hour of whatever day it is, wherever you are. So thank you again for coming around and asking your questions or just vibing out. So hopefully I'll see you guys soon in the next one. But until then, guys, good luck with your studies and good luck with maybe a potential move or trip to Japan in the future. All right, Tokuyuu out.